Acne makes us insecure, and it made me stay inside when I had horrible cystic acne in high school and in college. Bye-bye. And having acne is considered an imperfection, but let me tell you right now, it's a normal stage in many people's lives, and it can happen for many reasons, like diet, hormones, side effects from medications that you might be taking, and maybe because you're not using skincare to help your skin type. And before I continue, as you can tell, my skin isn't the best, but it's pretty clear from what it used to be. So I'm assuming that you're here to figure out why you suck at skincare, or maybe you're just trying to figure out how to start. Now I could yap on about how you need skincare and give you a whole kind of idea of how skincare is kind of needed, just like brushing your teeth. And of course, if you start doing skincare now, you will age a lot better than your other comrades in this war of insecurities. Now I'm assuming one of your questions is, what exactly is a skin type? A skin type refers to the hydration level of your face moisture. Now hydration is necessary to have good skin, but due to genetics and just our bodies being bodies, it doesn't help us keep the regulation that we need. But by learning what skin type you have, you can help get the best form of hydration while still looking your best. Now I'm assuming the next Google question you have is, how can you find your skin type? First, you start with getting a cleanser, and you can get any cleanser you'd like. Just get a cleanser to help clean your face off. Now apply to wet skin and cleanse your face with it, and make sure to apply in circular motions for about 30 to 45 seconds in each area. After you're done, wash your face and use a towel to pat dry your face. Make sure not to moisturize your face or anything, let it dry like this. And now we wait for an hour to see our results of what skin type we have. During this hour, you can eat, play Helldivers.
Officer Doofy requesting for assistance. The heck is that, bro? I didn't come here.
Maybe play League.
I'm coming!
Or do whatever, but don't go outside. That is something you want to avoid because the sun will cause damage to your freshly cleansed skin. Now, after waiting an hour, I'm like watching a bed making competition. If you notice little wrinkles, flakiness, or your skin is tight, then you have dry skin. Now let's say you don't notice any dry skin or flakiness, but you notice that your face kind of looks like a highlighter in certain areas or just throughout your whole entire face, then you probably have oily skin. Now let's say you don't notice dry or oily skin, but you notice certain spots are really shiny and some are tight and dry, then you have combination skin, which is the worst type of skin that you have. And some people get oily in their T-zone area, like usually around their nose, on the corners of their nose, or on their forehead, and everywhere else is dry. That's combination skin. It's the worst type of skin, and it's really hard to combat, but you can make it work. Now, if you don't notice any tightness or oiliness, no flaking, nothing, and your skin just feels normal, then congrats, you have normal skin, which is a lot easier to kind of work with. And you really just have to do the bare bones minimum of just moisturizing, cleansing, and so on and so forth. And now a word from today's sponsor. Thank you to Harry's for sponsoring this video. And with that, let's go shopping. Now I always shop at Target anyways to pick up my shavers when I need to shave my face, because there's definitely no need to make a special trip to grab shaving essentials because wherever you are, Harry's is too. Now as I arrived to the shaving section, I noticed behind this glass door, we have the goods. And I'm not really sure what to get, so here are my options. We have the Truman handle, which has a two-tone handle with ergonomic non-slip grip for ultimate control. Its weighted core and textured grip feels good in the hand. We also have the Winston handle, the handle GQ called the best men's razor overall for 2023. It has a smooth zinc body with rubberized grip and their signature 5-blade razor cartridge, which gives you total control over your shave. And finally, the Craft handle, which is their highest quality handle, and it has a dotted rubberized grip pattern integrated into the smooth metallic handle with a 5-blade razor cartridge. I ended up getting the Winston, and I also got some shaving cream and post-shave balm. Make sure you check out Harry's next time you're at your local Target and let me know what you pick up. And thank you once again to Harry's for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the video. Now the other thing that I do want to talk about is diet. Diet plays a huge part in your skin because, you know, the saying goes, you are what you eat, so to speak. At the time, I was eating a lot of red meat, and this very specific thing I was eating in the mornings, I was eating this beef sausage that I'd cut up and throw in my eggs, and it was very oily, and I was still getting acne as I continued to do my skincare, but it wasn't as bad as it used to be when I was in college before I had a skincare routine. And I figured it might be my diet. So lactose, or people say dairy, usually beef, red meats will cause skin like flare-ups or something in your diet that you might be eating, and I cut out beef, which was those sausages. And once I cut that out, after a week, my skin cleared up, and it looks like how it is now, and I figured it was the oiliness or the greasiness of that beef. Now, people's skin can react differently just because of how your body kind of regulates and how it consumes food. Everyone's different, you know, some people can eat a lot of red meat and their skin looks fine. As for me, I have very sensitive skin and probably just how my body kind of consumes and takes in that meat. It just made me more greasy and get more acne. It's not great. So if you want to take a look at what you're eating in your diet, try and figure out what might be really greasy and what might be causing issues for your skin. Because diet does play a huge part in a lot of different things besides your skin is kind of a health concern. So I would take a gander at what you might be eating. And if you figure out like, oh, this seems really greasy of what I'm eating, or maybe it might be even some dairy products, try and cut that out and go for a month and see how that works with your body. And if you stop getting acne, that might be the cause of it. Before I move on, people say that they have sensitive skin. This is not a skin type. This is a skin concern. People who have oily or dry skin can have sensitive skin. It's not relative to one skin type. Now, with all this information, you can now form a skincare routine for your skin type. Now, I could end the video here and then just move forward, but I'm going to give the bare bones, just necessities of what you might need for your skin routine. More complicated version of this video that I do want to make where I can talk about toners, serums, oils, exfoliation, chemical exfoliation, physical exfoliation. There's all these different things that people will deep dive into and that they get themselves into, and I don't want to put it in this video because it's just going to be a very bare bones general idea for people to just kind of hop on. So the first thing you will need is a cleanser. The second thing is going to be a moisturizer, and the third and last thing is going to be a sunscreen. Now for cleansers, I do really like Youth to the People, Inky List, The Ordinary, Dr. Jart, and Corsex. Those are just brands that I really like. I would look into them. They range from different price points, and I'm sure you can find a cleanser from there. CeraVe is also really great too. I do like them too as well, but I personally use Youth to the People. It can be very pricey, but I usually buy stuff through sales and it lasts me for months. Now for moisturizers, this can be quite tricky. So let's say you have dry skin, like myself, I have very dry skin. You want a heavier moisturizer. You don't want something that's too light because your skin needs more hydration. That's basically what it is. So you get a more thicker moisturizer, and there's two types of moisturizers that I use. There's the lighter products from Youth to the People and the heavier products. You can just look at the description and, you know, kind of, it's self-explanatory. You can figure it out on your own when you're looking to buy something according to your skin type. Now, let's say you have combination skin. You may want to stick to a lighter moisturizer and just work around that versus getting a heavier moisturizer where the oiliness in different areas might be overwhelmed by the heavy moisturizers. I would just try and go with light moisturizers with combo skin. But usually with people with combination skin, they'll get light moisturizers and heavy moisturizers and then work with the areas that require those certain types of needs. And for you oily people, it's kind of the same concern. I mean, you get light moisturizers for your oily skin. You're just going to go all over your face, or if you just have oiliness in certain areas, you would just go with that light moisturizer and then the heavy moisturizer with the dry areas of your skin. That's why combination skin kind of sucks, because you need to get certain products for the certain areas. But I see people work with just very light moisturizers and it works well for them. So you might just be better off getting light moisturizers. So combination skin and oily skin get light moisturizers, dry skin get heavy moisturizers. Now, the one thing that I forgot to mention earlier is climate. Climate does play a huge part in this. So if you live in a very dry area and you have oily skin, you might not notice it so much, but you know, you kind of have to still work with it. Or if you live in a very humid area and you have dry skin and your skin feels normal, it's because of the humidity outside. So try and work with what you got going on with the climate, because climate does change constantly. So I live in New York, it's very dry out here, and since I have dry skin without the climate, I still have to put on like pretty heavy moisturizers anyway. So again, climate plays a giant part in picking out what you need. So kind of go according to the climate and also just what your hydration needs are. Now for SPFs, you're going to want to get something, again, there's light and heavy SPFs. I've done heavy SPFs and it's really nasty to use during the summer, but during the winter, I'm able to use them. Now, again, you're going to be playing that huge thing or game with figuring out what the weather is and then just going according to that and how your skin reacts to certain things. Sometimes people can get away with heavier moisturizers in more humid climates because their skin's really dry. Some can't. And mine's kind of like that, where I kind of have to go according to the weather. Remember to get that because you want to protect your skin from the sun, because it will age you and it wrinkles your skin. So this is just like for a long-term idea of just having your skin look good as you age and not getting so wrinkled. It's just a precautionary thing and you need to get it. Now, like I mentioned, there are chemical exfoliations, physical exfoliations, there are toners, there are serums, there are oils. There's a lot on the market to buy, but to be honest, all you really need is those 3 different things, which is the moisturizer, the cleanser, and your SPF. I have friends that have a 10-step skincare routine, which is insane, but it works for them and they have glass skin, they have clear skin. My skin isn't that crazy compared to most people like around me. If worse comes to worse, and even though you figured out your skin type and your skin hasn't just acclimated or it hasn't changed, go to a dermatologist and maybe get some outside help. I totally forgot about this, but the other thing that I do want to mention is your skin will purge. If you just get onto a new skincare routine, or you're starting something different, or you never had a skincare routine and you just started, don't be shocked if you get acne or you break out or it seems kind of bad. Your skin just needs to get used to it. Skin purging is quite normal when you start a new routine or you get a new product. It just happens, but give it a few weeks and over time your skin will go back, and if anything, get a lot better than what it is before. But don't be alarmed if you start breaking out. It's quite normal. I've had a lot of friends that have came to me for skincare routines and I've mentioned, hey, your skin will purge. Logically makes no sense, right? You'd be like, well, wouldn't this help me? Isn't this supposed to help my skin? I get it. It happens, but that's the thing of the game. Your skin will purge a little bit. You just have to give it time. And really, taking care of your skin is about giving it time. It's not gonna change in an instant. I wish it did, but it takes weeks, months, but it's better than having acne for a year, right? You will know if your skin hates the products you're using, but give it at least like a month. And then if it sucks, then move on to another product and try and figuring that out. But yeah, that's something I forgot to mention. If anyone has any questions in regards to skincare or whatever, leave them down below in the comment section. I will try and help you if I can, or maybe other people might help you. But there's a lot of things to cover with skincare. Obviously, there is not going to be one skincare routine that solves all the problems. You have to tweak things according to what works best for your skin type, because we're all different. It's the same thing with hair. I know a lot of people try and follow the hair routine that I have, but it's not going to necessarily work for you, because I figured out the method for me, and one method and one format doesn't work for everybody. So remember to take that into account and just work with it, and I'm sure you'll figure it out. Comment highlight of the week. This was from my Instagram, and I get quite the creatures on there. So this is what the comment reads. You are in an insane place of privilege, talking down upon streetwear brands. The process to hand tailor and create clothing from scratch requires so many resources to start out. And for most, this outlet is all creatives have to express their vision. You are also white, so double L. For context, this video I made was about streetwear brands not really having vision. They just make a graphic and put it onto a shitty blank and call it fashion, where it's not fashion. Fashion's about sewing, learning how to pattern, learning design. There's all these different things that create something that is more artistic versus just being lazy and making a graphic design, a really bad graphic design that's not even artistic. Usually it's their brand and they'll just put it on a blank. That's what I was talking about. That's what I was referencing. You lack vision, my friend, if you think that's your outlet to showcase your brand. I feel like that's horrible. I would hate to put out publicly to the world that I just put my brand on a hoodie, Patient Zero on a hoodie, a blank hoodie that I got from China and manufactured. The thing about this is that there's a lot of books online. There's YouTube videos to learn how to sew, to pattern, to do all these things for free. There's a bunch of books out in the world and a lot of resources for free. I think a lot of the times people have this weird ideology where, again, I don't blame them, where you need to go to Parsons or CSM, to a very highly renowned school, or FIT maybe, that's like on the lower end of the spectrum of how cheap it is, but it's still expensive, to learn how to make fashion, do fashion, learn how to create stuff. You really don't. I have a lot of friends, even my roommate, who has learned through just trial and error and learning through books, through YouTube videos, and maybe even paying for classes that are quite cheap. It's quite possible to do it without going to college, and a lot of people do it. Also, muslin is super cheap if you're trying to learn how to sew, whatever. People get muslin for like cents a yard, $1. And you can learn how to sew on that. You can also rework. People always rework vintage. That always happens. And they change it into something different and new. I think, personally, that is better than just putting a graphic on a hoodie, like a blank, and, you know, shilling it to your audience. You know, take this into account. I mean, manufacturing isn't cheap. Getting blinks isn't cheap either, especially if you're going price per unit. There's a lot of these things that kind of apply to just making a brand in general that costs a lot of money. Usually I would say if people don't have the money to do that, they probably would be reworking vintage, getting their hands on maybe like really cheap material and sewing stuff together, which does take time. But to me, that's a practice that is more interesting and more time consuming, clearly, because you have to sew everything on your own versus getting a graphic and a blank tee and having someone else manufacture it for you. There's more passion in that than, again, just going down the route of just getting it manufactured. But that ends it for this video. I will move forward to the end of this video, which is right now. Thank you everybody for watching this YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed the video at this point. I appreciate you for staying for this long. Thank you to all the Patreon people that help support me and also watch all my podcasts. Also, I do stream Wednesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can catch me on there too as well. I wonder if anyone liked the fact that I put on a tie, but you can't even see what it says on it. Look, I put on a tie, come on. No one can see it. The camera doesn't even pick up, like it's too long. Maybe I tied it wrong. I don't know. I mean, I would listen to a guy who has a tie on. I mean, who wouldn't? Like, professional, probably knows what he's talking about.